Alright, so here's the Semester 1 exam review, Fall 2017. Let's look at number 1. To complete the table below, first thing we're going to do is write the term. So here, from the vertex, straight down, making a right angle, that's called an altitude. Okay? Altitude of a triangle. So it's a segment from a vertex that makes a right angle. That's, in my own words, the definition. The next one, midpoint to midpoint, that's called a mid-segment. Midpoint to midpoint, mid-segment. Okay. Segment connecting two midpoints. That's a mid-segment. Okay. This next one, it's at a midpoint because of those tick marks, and it makes a perpendicular angle. So that's called a perpendicular bisector. Okay. So it's a segment from a midpoint that makes a right angle. This one, you can see by these tick marks that it cuts that angle in half. So if you have something that cuts an angle in half, that's an angle bisector. And what is that? It is a segment that cuts an angle in half. Okay, this last one is from a vertex to a midpoint. I know that's a midpoint because of these tick marks. Vertex to midpoint is called a median. That's the first thing we went over on this unit. Median. And that's a segment that connects a vertex and a midpoint. Alright, moving on. Read the following two statements. If you read The Hunger Games, you've heard of the character Katniss. If you have not read The Hunger Games, then you have not heard of the character Katniss. Same order with knots. Okay? So if it's the same order with knots, which of the following statements is statement B? Given the condition statement A, that is a inverse. So remember, converse switches. Inverse has the same order, but has opposites, the word not in it. And contrapositive does both, switch it and opposite, putting the knots in there. Number 3, given the conditional statement below, construct the following. If you attend Lee High School, then your school mascot is a volunteer. Biconditional. So remember, biconditional is if and only if, right? That's the main thing we got to know. So, don't start with if. You're just going to say you attend Lee High School if and only if your school mascot is a volunteer. Technically, this is not true. You could have a mascot of a volunteer and go to the University of Tennessee, but you get the idea. This is how you make a biconditional statement. Contrapositive, remember, it's switch and opposite, meaning not. So I'm going to say if, and I'm going to take the second statement, your school mascot is a volunteer, and negate it. Do the opposite. So if your school mascot is not a volunteer, then you don't attend Lee High School. Alright, so that's contrapositive. Number 4, if AB equals 13 and BC equals 11, BC is 11 and AC equals 14, AC is 14, what is the length of DE? So from D to E, that's a mid-segment. And remember, the mid-segment is half of this parallel side, so this is going to be 7. What is the length of BE? Well, BE, since there's tick marks, it's going to be half of 11. So 11 over 2, or 5.5. What is the length of AD? Again, you got tick marks here, so it's going to be half of 13. 13 divided by 2, or 6.5. Alright, use the figure below to find the following measurements. Now, see how these are equal? That means these are going to be equal. So if angle X is 74, angle Y is going to be 74. And that's what it asks us first. X, Y, Z, well that's 74 degrees. But now it's going to ask for Y, ZX. So how do I find angle Z down here if these two are both 74? Easy. Call it we can call it Z, right? 74 plus Z equals 180. That's a Z. I get 148 plus Z equals 180. Subtract 148. And I get Z equals 32 degrees. And that's it. Now you could have just added them up and subtracted from 180. Same exact thing. Okay? Number 6, solve for X. Find the length of AB. So two things. X equals, and then AB equals. Okay? Now to find X, first thing I need to do is to remember the mid-segment is half of the parallel side. So I'm going to take the mid-segment times 2, and that equals the parallel side. So 2 times 3x minus 1 equals 34. I distribute that 2, so I get 6x minus 2 equals 34. Get rid of that loner, adding 2 to both sides. 6x equals 36. And when I divide by 6, x equals 6. Yay. But that's not it, because it wants us to know AB. So I'm going to take 3x minus 1, and I'm going to replace x with 6. So 3 times 6 minus 1. 18 minus 1 is 17. So AB, this length, half of 34, is 17. Up here, Jeremy plotted the following points on a coordinate plane. The triangle formed by the vertices is what and what. So, 2, -1, 5, 8, and then -8, 0. Alright. Now I can tell you off the bat that each of these are different. And the angle right here is bigger than 180. So if all the sides are different, that's scalene. And if the angle is bigger than 90, that is obtuse. Alright. Draw the midpoints of segment MN and NP, and then connect them to form a midsegment. MN, NP, connect them, midsegment. If the segment MP is 8 centimeters, what is the length of the midsegment? Well, remember, the midsegment is half of the parallel side, so this has to be 4. No big deal, right? Alright, that was it for this page. Next one. Use the figure below to answer questions 9 through 11. What is the equation for line B? So we got to remember, y equals mx plus b. M is the slope. B is the y-intercept. Okay? So B is where you start, and then the M is the rise over run. Okay? So, for B, where does it cross the y-axis? Right there. That's my B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -6. Okay? And now what's my rise over run? Down 1, right 1. Down 1, right 1. So my slope is -1 over 1, x, minus 6. Alright? So that goes right here, actually. Y equals -1 over 1, x, minus 6. Because I know the slope and I know the y-intercept. Okay? What is the slope of line B? -1 over 1. What is the equation of a line parallel to line A? Well, parallel will have the same slope. So for line A, what is the slope? Up 2 over 3. So remember, parallel means same slope, different y-intercept. So I would have y equals 2/3 x, but instead of plus 4, it's going to be plus 3. Any other number. This can be any number you want. MNP is scalene. Draw the median at PS. So P is here. S needs to be a midpoint. So I connect that. We want to complete the following. MS is congruent to what? So like I just marked, one tick mark is on MS. So SN also will have one tick mark. The angles MSP plus NSP equal how many degrees? 180 degrees. Or MSN, that's a vertical line, or it's a flat line. MSP and NSP are called what? So again, this angle and this angle are right next to each other and they make a straight line. We call that a linear pair. We also call it supplementary, right? Alright. Up here, using the figure below, find the measures of the unknown angles. Okay, WYZ, okay. We know WYZ is on this side, so I can do 180 minus 29, and I'm going to get 151. So 151 degrees. XWY, right here. Well, if I know this is 90, and this is 29, add them up, and subtract that from 180. 180 minus 119 is 71. Nope, 61. Alright, so again, that was XWY, 61 degrees. And if I know that, then VWY up here, well, I'm going to subtract 61 from 180. It's the as the supplement of 61. 119. Alright. Another way to get this exterior angle is to add these two remote interiors. But either way.